As a character-driven game, Overwatch is only as strong as the cast players are given control of at the onset of every match. Currently, there are over 30 playable heroes within Overwatch, but for every character released into the wild, there are many, many more who have never seen a wide release in-game. Still, droplets of information have leaked out over the years, whether through developer commentary or within Easter eggs included in official marketing material, of heroes who were once planned for the game but were cut before it went live to a wide audience. Now, a number of the cut heroes we will cover today may eventually find life again in the ranks of Overwatch. Many had a similar level of development as Echo or Sojourn, heroes who frequently appeared in Overwatch transmedia and trailers before they finally were confirmed as playable heroes. Others may find themselves incorporated into the lore in other ways, such as Jetpack Cat, but we'll get to them soon enough. So, here is every hero cut from Overwatch. Before we get started, if you enjoy what I'm doing here at Full Motion Videos, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more future content. And if you want to go above and beyond, ring the bell so you're notified every time I upload. This ritual greatly pleases the algorithm old gods and invests power into this channel. In other words, it just really helps out, and I really appreciate it. Now, let's get started. The first cut hero we are going to cover may end up finding their way into the game, similar to Sojourn and Echo. His name is Helio, a pale-skinned man with medium-length black hair and black and blue armor. His kit would have featured abilities like electromaces, healing light, and protection, pointing towards a support role. The word Helio means pertaining to the sun or sunlight, furthering the healing light motif he had going with those abilities. Now, why do I suggest Helio might make his way into the game at some point? Well, in the Recall cinematic, the very first of its kind ever made, a man greatly resembling Helio can be seen amongst the Overwatch agents Winston calls to action, similar to Sojourn. Now, their appearances are not entirely one-to-one. The agent seen in Recall has a blue visor covering much of his face, but it is close enough that I feel confident at least postulating that this is a mildly redesigned Helio. It seems like at least some of his original kit, or at least the idea of a healing light, may have been recycled or rolled into Mercy's moveset and aesthetic, which may explain why he has been slightly redesigned. This visor may relate to whatever new ideas Blizzard has for the character. Another character that has appeared frequently in early Overwatch promotional material is this unnamed hero, who appears to be a pale-skinned man with a black mohawk, an open vest, and cybernetic implants throughout his body, including along his back and chest, and fully cybernetic arms. Because of the prominence of his mechanical jaw and his lack of an official name, I am just going to call him Jaws. Like Helio and Sojourn, Jaws is one of the inactive Overwatch agents that Winston calls to action in the Recall trailer, and he has also made multiple appearances in character lineups meant to show off key art for early versions of the title. It is possible that Blizzard still has plans for Jaws, just as Sojourn appeared in Ana's reveal trailer in an old photograph years before she was ever even named. Another unidentified Overwatch agent can be seen on the left of this group. He has a similar appearance and hairstyle to Jaws, suggesting that the two may be connected, though this man does not appear to be cybernetically enhanced in any way. It would be interesting to see a character who has gone through a great deal of physical trauma and still wants to fight for the greater good. This is all simply conjecture, of course, and those characters may not be related at all. On a somewhat similar nameless note, we have this unnamed character which the Overwatch fan community has affectionately dubbed Hazmat Guy. A man armored by a stylized hazard suit, he has appeared in multiple pieces of concept art and official trailers for Overwatch, but no playable material for the character has materialized. During a dev livestream showcasing the then newly announced Ana with Jeff Kaplan, Jeff Goodman, Michael Chu, Tim Ford, and Arnold Sang, one developer referred to this character as the Bio Soldier. The developers said that they liked the design and that it is one of their oldest characters created for the project, but they haven't quite found a kit that would be at home with it yet. Despite some speculation that many aspects of the character were recycled for Ana, this does not appear to be the case. The internal kit concept Blizzard had for Ana was called Alchemist, not Biosoldier. On the other hand, the armored hero Wildebeest is a slightly different beast. Canonically, Wildebeest already exists in universe and was an agent of Overwatch. Like Sojourn and Helio, Wildebeest has appeared in multiple Overwatch trailers, and is included amongst the agents Winston calls to action in Recall. However, it is unlikely that Wildebeest will become playable, at least in his original form. Parts of his design were split amongst 3 other heroes. The giant mech suit of armor obviously evolved into Reinhardt, so much so that several sketches of Wildebeest's design are included in Reinhardt's section of the Art of Overwatch book. This page also shows us several iterations of his weapon, one of which is a flail. This was incorporated into Brigitte's moveset when she was developed and released. Finally, Wildebeest was to be of Numbani descent, and African-inspired artistic designs can be seen all over his armor. This part of his backstory and artistic direction was borrowed by Orisa. Still, given that aspects of his gameplay and character design have been borrowed by multiple heroes, and that he was included in the hero lineup key art that aided in defining the overall look of Overwatch's world, Wildebeest's influence in-game is still felt to this day. And who knows, it's entirely possible he may find a new life with new gameplay concepts somewhere down the road. Other characters had part of their stories and movesets co-opted by heroes who made it into the final game. Just as Orisa took concepts from Wildebeest, she may have also borrowed from Rumble, a yellow robotic tank with the abilities Siege Mode, Stationary Shield, and Energy Bolt. Troy, a pale man with blonde hair, black armor, and a yellow visor, had a kit containing flail, charge, and shield abilities, all of which may have been other inspirations for Brigitte's moveset. Overmind had a dark matter gun, and the abilities Void Sphere and Absorb, both of which may have been retooled into Moira's kit. Bruiser was a large robotic character with a wrist chain gun and a set of 4 eyes, possibly a precursor for Bob. Britt was a blonde, pale-skinned woman who had a pistol and could call upon attack mechs and support mechs. This design, of course, bears resemblance to D.Va. There's a poster featuring a woman resembling Britt in the Hanamura arcade, and given D.Va's in-universe history with professional gaming, this may have been a sly nod to how Britt influenced D.Va and her abilities. Hivemind was a pale man with sharp features hidden within a suit of armor, a hexagonal helmet resting above his head. 2 of his abilities, Disable and EMP Pulse, clearly found new life as part of Sombra's moveset, while his lightning gun was possibly given to Winston. Then there was Praetor, a soldier in mechanized armor with the abilities Twin Cannon, Tri-Grenade, and Hunter Visor, all of which may have been reworked into Soldier 76's gameplay designs. A crossbow-wielding female hero with white hair named Huntress has abilities that line up nicely with the kit Hanzo launched with in his first iteration. Additionally, there was a different hero named Hanzo created during development. This character would have incorporated many elements of ninja combat into his moveset, alongside the use of a bow. This proved to be too much for one character, however, and was eventually split into 2. As you have surely noticed, the cyborg design of this Hanzo was eventually given to Genji, while the bow was handed off to the new Hanzo. 2 characters with ice-themed abilities were present at some point in development. The first was Frost, a masked figure with explorer's gear and the abilities Ice Axe, Ice Patch, and Ice Wall. Many of these concepts evolved into Frostbite, the more confident prototype version of Mei, and then finally into the Mei of the final game. The other cool character was Yetzi, a humanoid ape clearly modeled after the mythological Yeti. His kit contained an Ice Storm and Freeze Snap ability, as well as use of his claws. Yetzi was likely dropped as Winston's character design developed, and as Mei's kit was finalized. His Ice Storm ability found new life as Mei's ultimate ability. Several of the character class archetypes first developed for Project Titan eventually evolved into the heroes of Overwatch, some with very few, if any, changes. Reaper, for example, seems almost identical, while others like Jumper, Architect, and Guardian only had their names changed. Mechanic and Longshot had their designs reworked into Widowmaker and Torbjorn, while Assassin became a character called Hanzo, who was split into the Hanzo and Genji we know, as we have already mentioned. Phoenix had a more drastic overhaul as Pharah, though the name and design of this original Phoenix also appears to have been given to a hero with a flamethrower. Funnily enough, one of Pharah's prototypes was named Mercy. At the time, the character now called Mercy was called Angelica. However, for every character that was recycled, others have just sort of faded. Perhaps some of the ideas used for them will be recycled, or maybe they'll make their way into the cast at some point, but it seems like these characters have been shelved for the time being. Firestarter was a red mechanical character, possibly a robot or mech armor, with an unsurprisingly flaming moveset involving a slag gun, molotovs, and eruption. Psyblade was a pale, scarcely clad woman with a large robotic headdress. Her abilities included Super Punch, Shockwave, and Backbreaker. Watcher was a mysterious woman with a glowing eye, but the rest of her body was shrouded in silhouette. Her abilities were more nebulous, involving transfusion, teleportation, and a staff gun. Luke was a white-skinned man with red eyes, a black beard, spikes on his head, and a demonic symbol carved into his forehead. Taking on a hellish theme and biker garb, perhaps inspired by comic characters like Lobo and Ghost Rider, Luke was to have a chain gun, a flame strike, and the ability to spawn minions. An unnamed Russian woman was also pitched early in development, but was never publicly named. She was to ride a bear and dual-wield AK-47s, and her ultimate saw the bear also bearing dual AKs. Freak was a thin woman with a multicolored mohawk and cobbled-together armor, and her moveset included the abilities Cannon, Stomp, and Attract. Her name is a reference to an old method of hacking that involved reverse engineering and manipulating phone systems, but it doesn't appear to have anything to do with her kit. Rashi is a very pale woman in white and gold armor that appears to be inspired by Hindi art. She may have been some sort of hybrid damage dealer and healer, with a kit including a damage beam, strike, and mass heal. Mama Hong is a woman of Asian descent, wearing a robe and curlers still in her hair. It appears that she is at least partially based on the landlady from the film Kung Fu Hustle. Jeff Kaplan has expressed hope in including Mama Hong in Overwatch in some way in the future, but her design is controversial amongst the development team. Unfortunately, this character's name is cut off in the slide we are shown of Overwatch's original pitch deck, with only the letters Indil visible. Indil is a tan-skinned man with electric blue hair, glowing blue glasses, blue headphones around his neck, and a wide-collared jacket. His abilities seem to be tech and electricity-based, but this is about all we can gather from the section of the slide that we can divine. Similarly, two unnamed characters with an Oni mask and a white ski mask are visible at the bottom of the pitch deck, but this is about all we can see from them. Recluse is a tan-skinned woman with red eyes and long pink hair that appears shaved on at least one side and in the back. As with Indil and the two unnamed characters, part of her slide is cut off on the Overwatch pitch deck, so the only ability of hers that we can see is Mouth Beam, whatever that may mean. Like many of the other heroes we have talked about today, Recluse appears in a lot of promotional material for the game, and she was arguably the main focus of a piece of internal concept art shown at DICE 2017. This piece by Ben Zhang was meant to capture what playing Overwatch should feel like, and shows Recluse firing a beam from her mouth. I guess that would be her mouth beam. Given the mechanical apparatus she is controlling and the name Recluse, the character has a strong spider motif going for her. Additionally, she is shown surrounded by several arachnid drones, suggesting she had an ability that let her summon and control these minions. Given how prominent Recluse seems to be in early Overwatch development, I wouldn't be surprised if she showed up again in Overwatch's future. Now, my personal favorite of the cut characters is McCloud, a pale-skinned man with a stylized beard, long brown hair, and blue markings on his chest and forehead. He seems to be Scottish and takes heavy influence from the 1986 science fiction fantasy film Highlander. He shares his phonetic name with that franchise's main character, and his ability, Only One, is a reference to the series' catchphrase, "There can be only one." In all likelihood, McCloud would have been a more melee-focused character, as one of his abilities is called simply Claymore. It also seems like McCloud would have been a mounted character. His third ability is Stampede, and McCloud can be seen riding a horse in a painting in the Escalon Club on King's Row. Though surely nothing but a reference to a design they liked using art they already had on hand, this does make me wonder if McCloud somehow still exists in the Overwatch universe, perhaps as a famous historical figure or folk legend. During the early development period for Overwatch, the art team wanted to push how far their new universe could go, forming several new character concepts during its ideation phase. A few of these shared with the public include a thin alien with a long rifle, a person in bomb suit armor with a harpoon gun, and a Canadian hockey-inspired character with rocket skates, a concept that would find new life as a skin for Lucio. One of the ideas designer Jeff Goodman held onto was a flying character with a flamethrower, leading to several other intelligent animal designs including an alligator, monkey, and even a gargoyle. Other developers felt that these ideas were slightly too far for the game and decided to take it a step back, resulting in Jetpack Cat. An obvious favorite in both the developer team and fan community, Jetpack Cat was, well, a cat with a jetpack that it controlled with its little paws. A few different iterations of the Jetpack Cat were created, including one where the cat is heroic and bombastic, and another where it's less enthused about being involved at all, reclining on the jetpack with its tail hanging down. Unfortunately, like its predecessors, the development team decided that Jetpack Cat was taking things too far, and the concept was sadly scratched. However, after the positive reception for the concept from the fan community, the development team decided to incorporate it into Overwatch's mythology in some way. In spring of 2017, then Overwatch lead writer Michael Chu stated on Reddit that he had been thinking Torbjorn has a particularly interesting cat, and who knows what stuff Torbjorn has lying around. Later, when Torbjorn's daughter Brigitte was revealed as a playable hero, the Lindholm family cat became part of her iconography. As a child, she is shown creating armor for the cat, and though it does not seem eager to participate, it is nevertheless resigned to its fate. It is also revealed that an older Brigitte has at least partially designed a jetpack for this cat, but whether or not she has built it is unknown. Most recently, Jetpack Cat has been added as an emote for Brigitte, though it only has its iconic headpiece and not the jetpack, which is so sad. As of the writing of this script, it also appears that Jetpack Cat will be incorporated into an official part of Brigitte's kit, if some Overwatch 2 leaks are to be believed. We currently do not know exactly how this will be handled, but I am excited to see it personally. Jetpack Cat is awesome and I love that Blizzard has embraced him, even if it's not as an official playable character. So, that's it. There is every hero cut from Overwatch that we currently know of. Again, I would not be surprised if any of these characters somehow found life in Overwatch again, especially now that Overwatch 2 is on the horizon and Blizzard is dipping into their well of older ideas like with Sojourn. Who knows what all Blizzard is holding close to the chest, because they really do expect to release these characters. Like, we have not seen anything about Jaws on the level of most of these other characters, despite his design seemingly being pretty far along, so don't be surprised if he shows up some point soon. The amount of thought put into Recluse also tells me that she might see a live release at some point, but who knows when. I just want to see how that mouth beam works. It's just really weird to me. Which of these cut heroes that we talked about today is your favorite, and which ones would you really want to play as? Let me know down in the comments below. Jetpack Cat seems like an obvious choice, but I already mentioned how much I love McCloud. A future fantasy aesthetic is my jam, so a science fiction Highlander would, of course, pique my interest. And hey, while you're down there, please also remember to like and subscribe for more stuff like this in the future. And if you want to make sure you never miss an upload, ring the bell so you're notified every time a video goes live. Doing all of that seriously helps me out, and I would be very, very grateful. Thank you again so much, and I'll see you next time.